So guys, let's not live our lives so angry and so worked up and so stressed that when you're in your 50s and 60s is when you're being told you need to be happy. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Rachel. Thank you so much for the support that you guys have given me throughout all the other episodes. It's been an amazing time with you guys. So I remember I told you guys that I would record um, a, a podcast talking about cortisol and just talking about the whole problem with weight gain and all that, how they're all connected. And so this is finally the podcast where we do that. So let's get to it. What is cortisol? Cortisol is basically the stress hormone. So, this is the hormone that is responsible for regulating stress. And how it works is when you are stressed, the cortisol hormone is triggered. And what happens is it goes to the liver and it tells the liver, I need glucose. I need glucose. I need energy. So, glucose is released and it goes into the bloodstream. And yeah, why it does that is because it assumes that you need energy to deal with the stress. So, whichever kind of stress that you have, whether it's like any form of stress, traumatic stress, acute stress, cortisol will be produced. And the craziest thing about it is produced whether the situation is real or whether it's imagined. So, whenever you're having like negative thoughts, cortisol is produced, guys. Whether something is real stress, like something that you can actually see that is happening, or something that you're just imagining, gosh, cortisol is still produced. And so, I think about cortisol is that it causes weight gain. It brings type 2 diabetes when it's, of course, when it's in high levels, right? So there's weight gain, there's type 2 diabetes, it causes insulin resistance, it weakens your muscles. So guys, you do not need your cortisol levels to be up. You really need them regulated. And so what usually happens, right, with stress, there's something called the sympathetic nervous system, which is actually responsible for stress response. And I think I already talked about it, the response happening, whether something is real or whether it is imagined. And this sympathetic nervous system, right, it causes your heart rate to increase, your blood pressure to increase, cortisol levels to go high, causes you to have muscle tension, gives you cholesterol. Like it's not a bad thing. It's actually helping you. It's trying to keep you alive. Like stress is a form of danger. So the sympathetic nervous system is basically saying we don't want to die. We want our body to be protected. So anything that, like, do you need energy? Like everything that your heart rate will go up, like everything that will keep you safe, is what the sympathetic nervous system will do. But it's not supposed to be a consistent thing. Like ideally, what the way we were created, it's supposed to be that 20% of of the time the sympathetic nervous system works, and then 90 or like 80% of the time you're in your normal state, which is the parasympathetic system, which now with the parasympathetic system, there's the aspect of digestion, is it reproduction, like all the other parts of your body just work normally. So anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, when you hear bad news, when you get an infection, when you get food poisoning, when you are afraid, when you're angry, when you're experiencing a trauma, when you're experiencing grief, all these things are a form of stress and they directly trigger your sympathetic nervous system. Like it's that crazy. And this is the interesting thing. Your brain actually decides when to end the stress. And the part of your brain that is responsible for this is your frontal lobe. So what happens is um, cortisol will actually cause you to gain weight. Like you can even be um, trying your best, but adding the fact that probably you're also eating a lot of junk, or even if you're eating a little junk, you're not going to lose weight when you're stressed out. You're really not going to lose weight. And this is why I decided to actually put out this podcast, because we need to find solutions of us reducing our cortisol levels, which means us reducing our stress levels. First things first, I have talked about this before. Walking, walking, movement, dancing, being a human being, guys. So what this does is that it reduces your insulin and it stimulates your brain. This is basically aerobic exercises. It's so important for you to be active. I know most of us probably work remotely, or even if you're working in the office, you're constantly seated down. Please find an opportunity to just move, to walk, to go for a dance class, to swim, to have some form of activity in your life. Next thing, strength training. Strength training. I know people usually say that strength training increases your cortisol levels, but actually what happens is when you're strength training, your growth hormone is produced like at a very high rate. So growth hormone actually reduces your cortisol levels. So you want your growth hormone to be at its highest, because ideally when you're strength training, you're actually harming, I don't want to say harming, but like you're tearing your muscles. So that's why the growth hormone has to be high, because it needs to go there and fix things. So yes, strength training. Back to strength training. Next thing is breathing. So this is the interesting thing about breathing. When you're breathing in, you activate your sympathetic nervous system. When you're breathing out, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So basically, a breathing just gives you that balance between the two, so that, because that's what you need. Both of them can't be active at the same time. So guys, breathe in, breathe out, and relax. Reading uplifting things, guys. A positive mindset. You need to read. You need to read good things. You need to listen to good podcasts, things that are going to keep your brain in the positive and not make it imagine bad things. Because even that imagination is stress. It is stress. Next thing is meditation, where you just sit down and you think about life, you think about the goodness of life and all that. Meditation. Just sit down and leave your laptop. Leave social media. Leave YouTube. Even right now as you're listening. And just sit down and meditate. Next is sleeping. How many hours of sleep do you get? I understand that people go 5 hours, 4 hours. Try to hit an 8-hour mark or a 7-hour mark. Your body needs to sleep. You're a human being. And I think one of the things that actually highlights greatly to me in these solutions is just be a human being. Be a normal human being. Be happy. Live life. So sleep. I know there are a lot of things that could be stressing you, but just close your eyes and rest for the sake of your own health. Another thing is smile and laugh for no reason. So whenever you're stressed out or you feel like there's a lot of pressure, just go sit down somewhere and put a smile on your face and just laugh. I mean, laugh at the situation. I know this is usually preached a lot, and a lot of people say it. But honestly, it will reduce your cortisol levels. It is actually good for your health. Celebrate things, guys. Celebrate life. Appreciate. Sit down, look at the sky and realize, wow, this is so beautiful. The nature is so wonderful. Like, I'm alive. These are the things that actually reduce your cortisol levels. Surround yourself with positive people. Leave toxic people alone. Toxic relationships, toxic friendships are bad for your health. Like, even if you don't want to do it for anything, do it for your health. Love yourself. Love yourself. The greatest form of self love is to leave out toxic people because you're thinking about your health. And imagine yourself admitted or being diagnosed with what? Because you surrounded yourself with so many toxic people. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? And will you be able to work when you're not in your best state of health? Think about it, guys. Smell things like nice things, like flowers. Mums, there's some flowers called mums. I love them so much. They smell so good. They will reduce your cortisol levels. So you stay there, essential oils, smell essential oils, smell nice fragrances for a period of time will actually reduce your stress levels and reduce your cortisol levels. Get a pet. I don't want to say get a child, but I know that this generation are, really strong on pets. So get a dog, get a cat. That is if you love pets. And it will make such a big difference. Get yourself a hobby. I think I already started with talking about dancing, but there's so many hobbies. You can join a book club. You can write. What else do people do as a hobby? You can run. You can dance. You can swim. Do something you love. If you love driving, you can drive safely, of course. There's another thing I was thinking about. I forgot it. You can sing. There's so many beautiful hobbies that are out there that you can actually do. Another thing is intermittent fasting. But this one is a tricky one, right? So intermittent fasting actually increases your growth hormone. But the thing is, if you're doing intermittent fasting, you need to lower your carbohydrate intake and increase your protein intake. Otherwise, it will not make sense. Like, it'll be like you're trying to go to 100, but then like there's also the zero. Like it's 100 minus 100. So you're gonna get zero outcome with this. So yeah, basically whole foods and healthy foods are very important. Of course, your diet, like we're not even going to run away from your diet. If you're out here drinking and taking beer every day and you want to say that you want to lose weight, I mean, let's be serious. Can we please just all stop joking around with one another and be serious with one another for once? And the last thing is vitamin D. In the morning when you wake up, guys, get that sun, get that vitamin D from the sun, and yeah, you'll get the opportunity to reduce your stress levels. Basically, get out of the house. Stop staying in an enclosed room on your own, thinking about life. Life is good. Life is good. Honestly, guys. And I'm not saying this because everything in my life is together. In fact, I think if I was to actually sit down and think about it, and think about the negatives, my life could actually be crashing at a very fast rate. But look at it. I have gotten to the point where I have decided to be a human being rather than to be controlled by all these things that came from colonialism that the British brought to us. I've decided to just be an African and to be happy. We used to live a very happy life, but it is well. It is well. But guys, I really hope I have helped you in this video, just getting to learn about cortisol. I think one of the things that I did not mention is the fat, right? So ideally what happens is cortisol goes to the liver, glucose is produced, right? Remember, insulin is supposed to take up that glucose and take it to the muscles. So it's cortisol and insulin are actually fighting. So cortisol is producing the glucose, and then insulin is coming back and saying, no, this glucose needs to be taken back to the body and stored as fat or used up as energy. So if you're not using that energy up, what happens? Insulin will actually store that because the energy has to be converted to fat, and that fat will be stored around your abdomen and around your face and areas near your shoulders. So that's why it's usually really hard for you to lose the stomach fat, especially when you have high stress levels. Guys, it's so important for you to make sure that your stress levels are very low, especially if you want the banging body or if you want to reduce your stomach. You know, the way we're very strong about that, then your cortisol levels actually have to be really low, and you need to live a healthy lifestyle and a happy life. I think another thing that I remember, some of people who are like older ages, some of my friends, tell me about, their parents and stuff like that. And parents are usually like, people who have like diabetes and hypertension are usually told, you need to relax. Yeah, they're told by the doctor, you need to live, you need to be happy. Try to be as happy as you can most of the time. And you need to relax. You cannot be angry or reacting. So guys, let's not live our lives so angry and so worked up and so stressed that when you're in your 50s and 60s is when you're being told you need to be happy. Is when you're reminded to be a human being. This is the time. Now is the time. Whatever age you are, you may be even 45 or you may be 20. This is the time to look at life from a different perspective. This is the time for you to be happy and live life and enjoy. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Next, I will definitely be talking about insulin because I know you guys want to hear about insulin. I will talk about it and talk about insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance so that we can continue to build our health and build our body and just enjoy life and be human. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe and to like this video. Bye bye.